Well, if you watch the energy markets, you might have seen some of the hullabaloo about what's going on in Britain. It's been pretty cold, and their gas supplies, not their gasoline, but their heating gas, natural gas supply is almost depleted. They store it in the tanks, and they've only got so much left. And then they were saying, well, there's only 2 days left, and they said 36 hours left. So they're going around trying to figure out how they can get some of the LNG tankers, the liquefied natural gas, in to make up for the shortfall. And, well, why is there a shortfall? Well, because it's cold, like I said, but the North Sea fields for gas and oil are depleting, and they're going away. That it used to be that Britain was a big oil power, and they still are. And at one point, after they found the North Sea fields, they were even self-sufficient for a short period of time. But now they can barely meet their domestic demand. And this is the bad news. The conventional natural gas is running out, and all the fields, you can go look, every field, the big one is the 40s. I think the 40s field's mainly oil, but then on the British side and the Norwegian side, just go look at how the production is playing out in the oil and gas, and most of them have already, they've lived out their life, their producing life. They're on the lower end of the curve, not producing much compared to what they used to. And they've got this shortage now, and they said that in one article I read, they said British gas prices are approaching they're some of the highest in the world right now in the short term because they need to get the gas. And, well, what's the solution? Well, obviously, drill for more gas. And, of course, that's the short-term solution. The long-term solution is to stop being an idiot and build more nuke plants. You can't be scared of the next Fukushima or the next Chernobyl. I mean, in the short history of the nuclear industry, what is it, 50 years, 50, maybe 60, when they started rolling everything out, you've had 2 major accidents, and one of them was pretty catastrophic, and one of them was, manageable being Fukushima. And if those plants constructed 40 years ago, I think Fukushima was a 70s plant, and all the other plants that they've done, and we've only had 2 major accidents, and with all the uranium that's out there, you can't come and tell me that there can be enough nuke plants built to provide safe and cheap energy. Now, of course, that takes time. So in the short term, well, Britain's come out and they've said, George Osborne, the finance minister, that's his job, the equivalent of our Treasury Secretary. What he's come out and done with the Cameron government and the Liberal Democrats are in there, they said, well, we're going to frack Britain. We're going to get these huge gas reserves out of the ground, and we're going to make use of them until we can transition to whatever else. And the environmentalists are, of course, going nuts, but, what are you going to do? Are you going to freeze? I don't want to freeze. I don't think any British people want to freeze either, and their fuel bills were high to begin with, even before this crisis. So the bad news is the North Sea's running out, but they've got plenty of reserves there, or at least the geologists are saying they do, to last them, long enough until they can get some new infrastructure and nuke plants, which nuke plants aren't renewable, but, when the uranium's gone, it's gone. But go look at how much uranium reserves are out there, and the fuel budget of a nuke plant is really small compared to, the capital, the initial cost. The main cost of nuclear is the initial cost. The uranium costs them almost nothing. Uranium is really dirt cheap. I think it goes for, what is it? I think it's $50 a kilogram or $50 a pound, either one, kind of trades in that range. I don't know if it's per pound or per kilogram. I get the prices in different numbers since I read a lot of foreign stuff. So anyway, hopefully they'll go through with the drilling, and they're going to get a head start because, the French dummies won't do it. French are too dumb to do it. The Germans have said they're going to at least do some exploratory drilling. And the option is, if you don't drill, well, you're a slave to the Russians and to the, to the Arabs, to the crazy, bomb everything Arabs out there in the Middle East. All those governments are terroristic. Saudis and the, even the Emirates. Everyone always looks at the Emirates and says, oh, Dubai, it's so pretty. Well, no, it's not pretty when you're a Muslim woman who gets raped and then you go to jail because the government says that somehow a rape victim needs to go to prison when they're assaulted. Drill for your own gas. Stop paying money out to those Russian dictators and idiot Muslims out there in the desert. None of those cities out there in the desert should even exist. They wouldn't without oil. There's so much oil and so much ignorance that, you know, once that oil runs out, those Muslim countries are just going to be gone. They're going to starve because they're too stupid to diversify their economy, and they're too religious. No one ever wants to live there. Have you ever noticed that they all want to move out? That there's a ton of grad students from all over the Arabian Peninsula and everywhere else in the Middle East. It's because those countries are hellholes, and they know it. It doesn't matter how pretty Riyadh or Dubai looks. They're shitholes. What kind of country is going to put you in prison for being a rape victim? So good on Britain, good on George Osborne for going out and drilling for the gas. Every other European country should be drilling. It's a no-brainer. If not, you're going to have $30 per million BTU natural gas, and you're all going to freeze to death.